aggregate what they can do with PST effects. And we talk about
Greetings and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brett and I'm glad you're here. On this channel we discuss books. I discuss the books that I have read. I discuss books that I plan to read at some point that I've picked up along the way, book hauls and things like that. And I also discuss books that once belonged to dead people, specifically Mr. Tversky. So today I am back with another book haul. Picked up these books most recently. Okay, so I haven't had an opportunity to do a book haul video in a while, so I want to do another book haul video. So let's get into the books. This is The First Phone Call from Heaven by Mitch Albom. I read The Little Liar already. I picked this book up for $1 and has a bookmark in it already. One morning in a small town of Coldwater, Michigan, the phone starts ringing. The voices say they are calling from heaven. Is it the greatest miracle ever or some cruel hoax? As news of these strange calls spreads, outsiders flock to Coldwater to be a part of it. At the same time, a disgraced pilot named Sully Harding returns to Coldwater from prison to discover his hometown ripped by miracle fever. Even his young son carries a toy phone, hoping to hear from his mother in heaven. As the calls increase and the proof of the afterlife begin to surface, the world transforms. Only Sully, convinced that there is nothing beyond this sad life, digs into the phenomenon, determined to disprove it for his child and for his own broken heart. Moving seamlessly between the invention of the telephone in 1876 and a world obsessed with the next level of communication, Mitch Albom takes readers on a breathtaking ride of frenzied hope. It just feels like he takes the simplest of ideas and tests them against human emotion. That's why I love his writing. Just like The Little Liar, it goes from simple to extreme really quickly. A little boy becomes a pathological liar after being deceived and telling the truth or trying to spread the truth. So this is definitely on my short list, and his books read so fast. If you've never read Mitch Albom, pick up a Mitch Albom book because they read so fast. They read so fast. Okay, what else do I have over here? The Martyred by Richard E. Kim. During the early weeks of the Korean War, Captain Lee, a young South Korean officer, is ordered to investigate the kidnapping and mass murder of North Korean ministers by communist forces. For propaganda purposes, the priests are declared martyrs. But as he delves into the crime, Lee finds himself asking, what if they were not martyrs? What if they renounced their faith in the face of death, failing both faith and country? Should the people be fed this lie? Part thriller, part existential treatise, The Martyred was published to universal acclaim and became a National Book Award finalist, earning debut author Richard E. Kim comparison to Fyodor Dostoevsky and Albert Camus. Pretty interesting book. I was a little surprised to see that in there. Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Neffenegger. This book is literally brand new. It's in perfect condition. A most untraditional love story. This is the celebrated tale of Henry D. Table, a dashing, adventuresome librarian who voluntarily travels through time, and Claire Apshire, an artist who takes a natural sequential course. Henry and Claire's passionate affair endures across the sea of time and captures them in an impossible romantic trap that tests the strengths of faith and basks in the bonds of love. Wow. Time Traveler's Wife. Carolyn Moorhead, A Train in Winter. Can anyone guess what this book is about without, just looking at this, when I saw this alone, before I even read it, I already knew what it was about. Anyone? If anyone took the time to guess, let's see if you're right. They were teachers, students, chemists, writers, and housewives, a singer at the Paris Opera, a midwife, a dental surgeon. They distributed anti-Nazi leaflets, printed subversive newspapers, hid resistors, secreted Jews to safety, transported weapons, and conveyed clandestine messages. The youngest was a schoolgirl of 16 who scrawled V on the walls of her lycée. The eldest, a farmer's wife in her 60s, who harbored escaped Allied airmen, strangers to one another, hailing from villages and cities across France. 230 brave women united in defiance of their Nazi occupiers. They were eventually hunted down by the Gestapo, separated from home and loved ones, imprisoned in a fort outside Paris. They found solace and strength in their deep affection and camaraderie. In January 1943, they were sent to their final destination, Auschwitz. Only 94 would return to France. Drawing on interviews with these women and their families and on documents in German, French, and Polish archives, A Train in Winter is a remarkable account of the extraordinary courage of ordinary people, a story of bravery, survival, and the enduring power of female friendship. Carolyn Moorhead. Shortlist that. Louise Erdrich. The Night Watchman. When was this written? This book was written in 2020. Thomas Warshak is the night watchman at the jewel-bearing plant near the Turtle Mountain Reservation in rural North Dakota. He is also a Chippewa council member who is trying to understand the consequences of a new emancipation bill in the United States Congress. It is 1953, and he and the other council members know the bill isn't about freedom, it is about termination. It is a termination that threatens the rights of Native Americans to their land and their very identity. Since graduating from high school, Pixie Perito has insisted that everyone call her Patrice. She works at the plant in a job that pays barely enough to support her mother and younger brother. Determined to find her beloved older sister Vera and her child who have disappeared, Patrice makes a fateful trip to Minnesota that introduces her to unexpected forms of exploitation and violence that endanger her life. Based on the extraordinary life of Louis Erdrich's father, Patrick Gourneau, who carried the fight against Native dispossession from rural North Dakota to Washington, D.C. The Night Watchman is a majestic work of fiction from one of the most acclaimed writers of our time. The Night Watchman. It's an Oprah Book Club selection by Christina Schwartz. It's called Drowning Ruth. I had to pick this book up, okay? In the winter of 1919, a young mother named Matilda Newman drowns beneath the ice of a rural Wisconsin lake. The shock of her death dramatically changes the lives of her daughter, troubled sister, and husband. Told in the voices of several of the main characters and skipping back and forth in time, the narrative gradually and tantalizingly reveals the dark family secrets and the unsettling discoveries that lead to the truth of what actually happened the night of the drowning. Oh, here we go. This is Candace Owens' book, Blackout. I don't care for a lot of the things that she says on social media. I try not to be a judgmental kind of person, but I just can't with her specifically. While Democrats have long acknowledged our struggles and the crimes enacted against us, they have done very little to provide actual remedies to prepare us for a future that doesn't center on our brokenness. As we approach the 2020 election, I'm asking the Black community to consider the realities of our current economic state, the condition of our schools and neighborhoods, the number of our young men who are incarcerated. For too long, we have been lied to by Democrats who have relied upon our votes to maintain them in power. For too long, we have believed that the state is sovereign. We do not belong to the Democratic Party. We do not belong to socialism. We answer to the true God, not the God of government. I honestly don't plan on reading this or getting to this anytime soon. It's rhetoric to me, and it's very, very low vibrational stuff, in my opinion. Katya's in jail, straight jackets and lunch money. This right here, man. This book right here, this one, is going to blow your mind when I read this to you. It's going to blow your mind. Katya's in jail became patient number 0907151 at the Roth Psychosomatic Unit at Children's Hospital at Stanford in 1986. She was 10 years old. Katya's young age set her apart from the others, mostly teenage. Children on the psychosomatic unit, anorexic girls, became her babysitters. Non-compliant diabetic boys were her big brothers. Instead of learning her multiplication tables, Katya learned how to throw up. The bulimic teens taught her that. Visitors from other units showed her how to be ashamed. Hospital staff put her in a straitjacket and on antipsychotic medication. At her young age, The length of her stay and her lack of diagnosis inspired a rare intimacy in staff and patients, allowing Katya to penetrate a hidden world more deeply than most. 30 years later, Katya, now a journalist, tracks down the doctors, psychologists, and counselors who once cared for her. What happened to her as a child is told in the voice of the troubled 10-year-old girl she once was, the two narratives unfolding simultaneously. The result of a gut-wrenching account of childhood mental illness told from the inside, interspersed with updates from experts in the field. It's nonfiction psychology. All right, Mario Escobar, teacher of Warsaw. September 1st, 1939. 60-year-old Janis Warshak and the students and teachers Darmstadt Jewish orphanage are outside enjoying a beautiful day in Warsaw. Hours later, their lives are altered forever when the Nazis invade. Suddenly treated as an outcast in his own city, Janis, a respected leader known for his heroism and teaching, is determined to do whatever it takes to protect the children from the horrors to come. When over 400,000 Jewish people are rounded up and forced to live in a 1.3 square mile walled compound of the Warsaw Ghetto, Janis and his friends take dramatic measures to shield the children from disease and starvation. With dignity and courage, the teachers and students of Darmstadt create their own tiny army of love and bravely prepare to march toward the future, whatever it may hold. Teacher of Warsaw. Last book on my list is Sisters Under the Sun by Heather Morris. Heather Morris also wrote The Tattooist of Auschwitz. I'm finding a lot of books about the Nazi invasions and Jewish Holocaust. In the midst of World War II, an English musician, Nora Chambers, places her 8-year-old daughter Sally on a ship leaving Singapore, desperate to keep her safe from the Japanese army as they move down through the Pacific. Nora remains to care for her husband and elderly parents, knowing she may never see her child again. Sister Nessa James, a Welsh-Australian nurse, has enlisted to tend to Allied troops, but as Singapore falls to the Japanese, she joins the terrified cargo of people, including the heartbroken Nora, crammed aboard the Viner Brook merchant ship. Only 2 days later, they are bombarded from the air off the coast of Indonesia, and in a matter of hours, the Viner Brook lies broken on the seabed. After surviving a brutal 24 hours in the sea, Nesta and Nora reach the beaches of a remote island, only to be captured by the Japanese and held in one of their notorious POW camps. The camps are places of starvation and brutality, where disease runs rapid. Sisters in arms, Nora and Nestor fight side by side every day, helping whoever they can and discovering in themselves and each other extraordinary reserves of courage, resourcefulness, and determination. Okay, so that's the last book in my book haul. I want to thank you all for watching my video. I appreciate you. Like I said in the beginning, if you haven't subscribed, I invite you to subscribe, and I invite you to watch the Dead Man's Book Collection. We are on episode 9. I may be able to stretch out a few more videos on there because I haven't done the sci-fi as much justice as I want to. I do have 2 collections of sci-fi novelists, maybe 3, that I do want to speak about separately. So we'll just see how things go with the Dead Man's Book Collection. I have yet to secure another collection, but I'm very, very hopeful that I will in time or at some point. I want to thank you for watching this video. As always, I appreciate you. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. But first, I want to read some comments. Eclecticism UK writes, man, if you're anywhere near the Midwest, I have to let you know when my parents no longer need their collection. A 3-bedroom house with most walls covered in shelves. My little brother's room became the history section when he moved out. How dope is that? Lots of eclectic and obscure stuff they found over a lifetime of library book sales and bargain hunting, including some really old, weird stuff. Loving this series and the channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate the offer. I am in the Midwest. I'm actually in Illinois. So if you're trying to get rid of that collection, holla at your boy. I really appreciate that. Eclecticism UK. Thank you very much. 8 hours ago, The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. I like that. That's a cute name. Destiny's Dynasty writes, I'm currently reading this book now and I'm blown away. I think I will read The Housemaid next from her. Indeed, you should. The Boyfriend, you're actually going down the same Freedom McFadden path that I went down, because I read The Boyfriend first and then I went to The Housemaid. She is the story of O was a fascinating read. Indeed it was. You know, I haven't done a review of the story of O, but it's definitely one of those books, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you for your comment. Main 2086 writes, loving this series of your channel and your voice is nice to listen to. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Katie Existy writes, I fell down this rabbit hole. I just know that he loved that a fellow book reader is taking care of his books now. I sure hope that Mr. Tulersky is somewhere up there saying, yeah, this was great. Oh, Cruel Spirit, hey, thanks for including my comment. I'm excited to follow along in this journey. Anyone who has Richard Brautigan and Khalil Gibran in their library has my interest. Absolutely. I received a lot of comments in relationship to not as much Richard Brautigan, but Khalil Gibran. A lot of comments when I pulled those books out, so I appreciate it. Just in time, greetings from Turkey. Greetings. I appreciate it. Man, I love it. The idea that the community is growing in such a way that subscribers from overseas are chiming in. UK, Turkey, man, that's huge for me. So I appreciate you subscribing and I appreciate you being here. Memphis Jones writes, my friend, I really hope your ex takes mercy on you and puts your books in a box and allows you to pick them up. You mentioned Ishmael Reed. I knew nothing of him until last year when I was looking for black cowboy books to read during the June on the Range reading challenge. I read Yellowback Radio and Lord Have Mercy. That book was crazy. I did a video on it, but that book was buck wild. Thank you for this video. Thank you for your comment. As far as the books from the ex, I don't know. I'm not going to inquire about the books anymore. I'm just going to move on if need be. It's like this: when someone knows that something's important to you, if they actually care about you, they would aid in that. And if they feel the opposite way about you, it's like nothing you can do to get them to cooperate. So I'm not going to worry about it. But I'll tell you this, Yellowback Radio, never heard of it. I'm going to have to look it up since you gave me that recommendation. Thank you for the comment. It's a comment from my high school friend. Her name is Mel D. Henderson, 2105. What's up, Mel? Brett Bonner, you're the best. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, Melody. Or should I call you sis? I'm not even going to say that. I'm not going to go any further. But yeah. Okay, so that's the last comment I'm going to read. So I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to my channel. Everyone who has commented and liked my video. I appreciate you. If you've yet to subscribe, I hope you take a moment to smash that subscribe button and join the family. Subscribe, man. The community's growing. I'm at 7,800, somewhere around there in subs. And I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Aggregate what they can do with PST effects. And we usually like the